to Ethoria Channel.
Previously on episode 1, you discovered you practiced dying every night. You realized identity is more fragile than you imagined. You found something that witnesses all changes without being changed. But one question remained. What happens when you finally stop running from that observer? Today, we go deeper into the stories of those who stopped running, into the mirror that shows everything you've been avoiding, into the ultimate paradox that might break your mind completely. Warning: this episode doesn't offer comfort, it offers truth. What you'll discover: why most people die without ever living, the brutal truth about unlived potential, how to practice conscious dying while alive, real techniques, not theory, the ultimate paradox, why you can't die because you were never born, the final question that renders all other questions meaningless. Chapter 7: A Story of Conscious Departure. Key point: some people discover what they are before the body dies. Let me tell you about Sarah. She was 34 when cancer spread through her body. The doctors gave her 3 months. But instead of fighting the diagnosis with denial or drowning in despair, she did something extraordinary. She began investigating who was going to die. Picture this: Sarah's hospital room. Afternoon light through blinds. Her sister visits. "Aren't you afraid?" Sarah looks at her with startling clarity. Of what? Of dying, of not existing anymore. Sarah smiles. "I've been investigating that, and I've discovered something interesting." "What?" "I don't exist now, not in the way I thought I did." Her sister looks confused. This person named Sarah, with this history, these memories, these preferences, she's just a story, a very convincing story, but still just a story. That doesn't sound comforting. It's not comforting, it's liberating. Because if Sarah is just a story, then what I can't be harmed by the ending of the story. Every morning Sarah would sit and ask, who am I when I'm not thinking? What remains when all my stories end? What was here before Sarah was born? As her body weakened, something else grew stronger. Her presence became more intense, not less. Her eyes held a depth that seemed to see beyond the visible world. But here's what the skeptic in you wants to know. Was Sarah just in denial? Was this awareness beyond identity just elaborate self-deception? And that skeptical voice deserves an answer. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. We don't know. We don't know if consciousness continues. We don't know if there's anything beyond the personal self. We don't know if this investigation into pure awareness is profound wisdom or desperate escapism. But here's what we do know. Most people live as prisoners of the fear of death. They make decisions based on staying safe rather than being alive. They choose comfort over growth, familiarity over truth, security over authenticity. And that's not living. That's just not dying yet. The night before Sarah died, she called her sister. "I'm not going anywhere. I'm just changing form." Her last words were, "I see what I actually am, and it's so much simpler than I thought." Maybe she was right. Maybe she was deluded, but she died without the terror that haunts most people, and she lived her final months with a freedom most people never taste. Today's practice, Sarah's investigation. 3 times today when you feel stressed or afraid, ask Sarah's questions. Who am I when I'm not thinking? What remains when this story ends? What was here before this problem existed? Don't think your way to answers. Rest in the questions. Takeaway: the one who investigates death might not be the one who dies. Chapter 8: You Never Really Started Living. Key point: Death terror reveals the weight of unlived life. Picture this. Hospital room, 2:47 a.m., monitors beeping. A woman holds her father's hand as his breathing slows. Sarah stares at her father's face. The doctor said hours, maybe minutes. Her phone buzzes. Boss texting. Can you handle Monday's presentation? She looks at the message, then at her father, then back at the phone. For 43 years, she's answered every message, attended every meeting, said yes to every request, built a perfect resume, a perfect career, a perfect life on paper. But watching her father slip away, she realizes something that makes her stomach drop. She never actually lived. Pause. Let that sink in. Now picture this. A coffee shop. Morning rush. A 78-year-old man sits across from his grandson, hands shaking slightly as he lifts his cup. Grandpa, are you scared of dying? The old man looks out the window for a long moment, then back at his grandson. You know what scares me? I was so busy surviving. I never checked if I was actually alive. He sets down his cup. 78 years. Jobs, bills, responsibilities, obligations. Always something urgent. Always something that couldn't wait. His grandson waits. I kept thinking, once I get through this week, this month, this year, then I'll start living. But then never came. There was always another crisis, another deadline, another reason to postpone being present. He looks directly at his grandson. Don't do what I did. Don't mistake being busy for being alive. Feel this with me. Feel the weight of that recognition in your chest. Not gentle disappointment. The crushing awareness that you spent your entire existence waiting for permission to be yourself. Waiting for the perfect moment to speak your truth. Waiting for fear to disappear before you acted with courage. Her father's eyes flutter open. He looks at her with startling clarity. Did you? His voice barely a whisper. Did you ever do what made you happy? Sarah opens her mouth to list her achievements, her promotions, her savings account, but the words don't come. Because she realizes she doesn't know what makes her happy. She's been so busy becoming what everyone else wanted that she never discovered who she actually was. His hand squeezes hers. Don't wait, he whispers. Don't do what I did. Don't wait. And then he's gone. This is what makes death unbearable for most people. Not the fear of non-existence, the weight of unlived life. Put your hand on your chest right now. Can you feel the space behind your eyes where regrets live? Can you sense the tension in your shoulders from carrying expectations that were never yours? Can you feel the hollow ache from love you've been too afraid to give? You can go decades without truly meeting yourself. You can live an entire lifetime holding your breath emotionally. You might be thinking, that's not me. I've lived. But have you? Have you ever been with yourself in complete silence, without reaching for your phone, turning on music, calling someone, planning something, worrying about something? When did you last ask, who am I when I'm not performing? When I'm not achieving? When I'm not fixing, helping, or pleasing anyone? But here's the paradox that will break your mind. What if the fear of death is actually the fear of life? What if every moment you spend avoiding death is a moment you spend avoiding being fully present? What if the awareness that's terrified of dying is the same awareness that's been too afraid to fully live? Sarah walks out into pre-dawn darkness. She types, I won't be handling Monday's presentation, or any Monday. I resign. For the first time in her life, her finger hovers over send without fear. She sends it. Books a flight to Paris. One way. She doesn't know what she'll do there, but she's moving towards something instead of away from it. Life review practice. Do your life review now, while you can still change things. First, ground yourself in your body. Put your hand on your chest. not to feel energy, but to remind your body you're still here, that you're not running away. Feel your feet on the ground, the weight of your bones, the reality of flesh. Now ask these questions and let your body respond. If you died today, what would you regret not saying? Feel the specific words wanting to move through your throat. What would you regret not doing? Feel the impulse in your hands, your legs, your whole body wanting to move toward something. Who would you regret not forgiving? Feel the heaviness you're carrying that doesn't belong to you. Feel where you hold it in your body. Who would you regret not loving fully? Feel the love pooled in your chest that you've been withholding. Feel how it wants to overflow. Don't just think about these. Let your body tell you. Your body knows things your mind refuses to acknowledge. The tension in your shoulders from carrying expectations that were never yours. The tightness in your jaw from swallowing words you needed to say. The hollow ache from love you've been too afraid to give. Then do one thing about each one. Today, let your body lead. Takeaway. The question isn't whether you'll die. It's whether you'll live before you do. Chapter 9. The Mirror That Shows Everything. Point. What looks back isn't what you think. Do this right now. Find a mirror. Look into it for 60 seconds without looking away. Don't fix your hair. Don't check your appearance. Just look at the one looking back. Now ask, who is looking? Is it your thoughts looking? No. You can observe thoughts coming and going. Is it your emotions looking? No. You can watch emotions arise and pass. Is it your body looking? No. You can feel your body from the inside. So what is looking? This is where most people's investigation stops, because the answer is too disturbing. What's looking has no personal history. What's looking has no preferences. What's looking has no investment in your survival. It's the same impersonal awareness that watches dreams without being in the dream. The same neutral witnessing that observes thoughts without being thoughts. And this is what you actually are, not the person with problems, not the individual with the story, not the someone who's afraid of dying. You are the impersonal awareness in which all persons appear. Jennifer from Canada, 28 years old, described her near-death experience. I wasn't Jennifer anymore. I was just watching. But it wasn't empty. It was more real than being Jennifer had ever been. But here's where it gets uncomfortable. This awareness doesn't care about your hopes and dreams. It doesn't care about your relationships. It doesn't care about your achievements or failures. It doesn't care whether you live or die. It simply witnesses everything with complete neutrality, like a movie screen that doesn't have preferences about what appears on it. The screen isn't affected by whether it's showing comedy or tragedy. The screen just allows everything to appear and disappear. This is what you are, the screen of awareness on which the movie of your life is playing. But you've become so absorbed in the movie that you forgot you're the screen. The skeptic protests, but that would mean nothing matters. Love isn't real, relationships aren't important, and awareness responds. Does the movie matter to the screen? The skeptic continues, but if I'm just impersonal awareness, why do I suffer? And awareness asks, who is asking this question? This isn't nihilism. This isn't saying nothing matters. This is recognizing that you are the space in which mattering and not mattering appear. And that awareness doesn't need meaning to be complete. It doesn't need purpose to be fulfilled. It's already whole. Mirror practice, advanced version. Morning, 2 minutes looking, asking, who is looking? But don't just stare. Touch your face while you look. Feel the skin under your fingers. Feel the skull underneath. Feel the temporary nature of this form. Evening. 2 minutes looking, asking, what remains constant while everything else changes? Place both hands on your chest. Feel your heartbeat. Feel your breathing. Notice how something watches, even your own heartbeat. Before sleep. 1 minute asking, what? Watches the watcher. Lie down and feel the weight of your body sinking. Feel how awareness doesn't sink. Feel how it witnesses sinking without being heavy. Let your body teach you about impermanence. Let your awareness show you what doesn't change. Takeaway. You are not the main character in your life. You are the awareness in which the main character appears. Chapter 10. The Practice of Sacred Dying Key. Point. Every moment offers a chance to die consciously. You don't have to wait for death to practice dying. Consciously, picture this: rush hour traffic, car not moving, frustration rising, something in you is agitated, wants this moment to be different, but something else just watches the agitation. Practice dying to the one who's frustrated, not by suppressing frustration, but by recognizing you are the awareness that observes frustration, not the frustration itself. Every difficult moment is a small death, every ending, every disappointment, every time life doesn't match your plan. Here's your training program: death to expectations. When things don't go your way, ask, what in me is attached to this outcome? Then, be the awareness that watches attachment rather than the one who is attached. Death. To control when overwhelmed by uncontrollable circumstances, ask, what in me believes it should be in control? Then be the awareness that witnesses the need for control rather than the one who needs to control. Death to identity. When criticized or misunderstood, ask, what in me is defended by this identity? Then be the awareness that observes the defended identity rather than the one who is defensive. Death to reactivity. When strong emotions arise, ask, what in me is overwhelmed by this feeling? Then be the awareness that witnesses emotions rather than the one who is emotional. But here's the uncomfortable truth. The more you practice this, the more you realize how little of what you call you is actually necessary. Most of your personality, most of your preferences, most of your opinions, most of your reactions, all of it is just conditioning appearing in awareness. All of it is just patterns playing out automatically. When you practice dying to these patterns, something unsettling happens. You start to disappear. The person you thought you were begins to thin out. The solid sense of being someone specific starts to dissolve, and this terrifies most people because they realize they were never as real as they believed. But here's the liberation hidden in this terror. What remains when the person dissolves is not nothing. What remains is everything. What remains is the awareness that was always here, but was obscured by the drama of being someone. Daily dying practice. Choose one pattern to die to each day this week. Monday, die to needing to be right. When someone disagrees with you, put your hand on your heart. Feel the contraction that wants to defend. Breathe into that space. Let the need to be right dissolve with each exhale. Tuesday, die to needing approval. When you feel the urge to please someone, feel your feet on the ground. Let the earth support you, instead of seeking support from others' opinions. Wednesday, die to needing to control outcomes. When things don't go your plan, clench your fists tight for 10 seconds, then release. Feel the relief of letting go in your body. Thursday, die to needing to be understood. When someone misunderstands you, place your hands on your belly. Breathe deeply. Let understanding come from within instead of without. Friday, die to needing things to be different. When frustrated with reality, Feel the weight of your body. Let gravity teach you about acceptance. Saturday. Die to needing to be someone special. When ego rises, touch something rough. A wall, a tree. Let texture remind you that you're just another temporary form in an endless dance. Sunday. Die to needing to know what happens next. When anxiety about the future arises, lie down and close your eyes. Feel how your body knows how to exist without knowing what comes next. Takeaway. What you are cannot be threatened by the dissolution of what you're not. Chapter 11. The ultimate paradox. Key point. You cannot die because you were never born. Look at a baby photo of yourself. Where did that infant come from? Not your parents. They provided genetic material and environment, not your soul. That's just another story. That baby appeared in awareness the same way a dream character appears in a dream, out of nothing, into awareness, for no reason. And the awareness in which that baby appeared, the awareness looking at this photo right now, is exactly the same awareness, unchanged, unaged, untouched by time. Your body has completely replaced itself multiple times since that photo. Your thoughts are entirely different. Your personality has evolved. Your memories have changed. But the awareness that witnesses all these changes is identical. Dr. Bruce Greyson's research suggests people with near-death experiences often report, "I realized I had never been born in the first place. I had always existed, but had forgotten. What you think of as your birth was not the beginning of you. It was the beginning of the story about you. What you think of as your death will not be the end of you. It will be the end of the story about you. But you, the real you, are not the story. You are the awareness in which stories appear and disappear. And that awareness was never born. If it was never born, it cannot die. But here's where the mind rebels completely. If I was never born, what am I? If I can't die, what's the point? If I'm just awareness, why does suffering feel so real? And that's exactly the right question, because suffering is real. But not in the way you think. Suffering is real the way a dream is real. While you're in the dream tiger really chases you. The dream heartbreak really hurts. The dream death really terrifies you. But when you wake up, you realize you were never actually in danger. You were always the dreamer, not the dream character. Birth and death are experiences that happen to the dream character. They are not experiences that happen as the dreamer. You are the space in which birth and death appear. You are the awareness in which life and death unfold. But here's the final twist that breaks everything. Even this recognition is just another story. Even you are awareness is just another concept appearing in awareness. Even you are the dreamer is just another dream. What you actually are is so simple, so obvious, so present that it requires no understanding, no recognition, no awakening. It's what's here right now, reading these words. It's what's been here your entire life. It's what will be here when this body is gone. Not as some grand eternal soul, but as the utterly ordinary, completely obvious awareness that is present in this moment. Paradox practice. Before birth. Investigation. Sit quietly for 10 minutes. Feel your sitting bones on the chair. Feel the space your body occupies. Ask, what was here before I was born? Don't think your way to an answer. Let your body respond. Feel into the space behind your heart. Feel into the space behind your thoughts. Rest in the space before the question was asked. Feel how your body emerged from emptiness. Feel how it will return to emptiness. Notice what's aware of both the body and the emptiness. Maybe that's what you are, or maybe not. Maybe it's just space pretending to be someone asking questions about space. Takeaway: the one investigating birth and death was never born and cannot die. Chapter 12. The final question, key point. The end of all seeking, if death isn't the end. If awareness continues. If you are more than this body, this mind, this story, who are you without them? Complete silence. No sounds, just this question hanging in space. Right now, before thinking, before analyzing, before cleverness, who are you? Not your name, not your job, not your relationships, not your history. Who are you in this moment of pure being? Feel into the space where the question comes from. Feel into the silence that hears the question. Feel into the awareness that exists prior to any answer. That is who you are. That is what continues. That is what was never born and can never die. And if you don't know this directly, if it still feels like philosophy rather than living recognition, if something in you is still asking, but what if this is all speculation? Then let me ask you this. What if it is? What if consciousness doesn't continue after death? What if there's nothing after the final breath? What if this is all there is? Would that change what you are right now? Would that make this moment of awareness less real? Would that make this experience of being present less profound? The skeptic wants certainty. Tell me what happens after death. But what if that's the wrong question? What if the right question is, what's happening before death? What if the mystery isn't what comes after? What if the mystery is what's here? Now, long pause, silence that doesn't need filling. Look around you right now, this moment, this awareness, this inexplicable fact that there is something rather than nothing. This is already the miracle. This is already the mystery. This is already beyond explanation. You exist. You are aware. You are here. How is that possible? How does matter become conscious? How does the universe become aware of itself? How are you reading these words right now? No one knows. Science can map the brain, but can't explain how neural activity becomes experience. Philosophy can create theories, but can't bridge the gap between matter and mind. Religion can tell stories, but can't prove anything about what comes after. The truth is, existence itself is impossible. Consciousness itself is unexplainable. Awareness itself is a complete mystery, and yet here you are, aware, conscious, existing right now. Not in some future afterlife, not in some past lifetime, right? Now maybe that's enough. Maybe the question isn't what happens when I die. Maybe the question is, what's happening while I'm alive? Maybe the mystery isn't what you become. Maybe the mystery is what you already are. Final integration, what you've discovered. Across both episodes, you practice dying every night. Sleep as death rehearsal identity is fragile. You're not who you think you are. Something witnesses everything, including the fear of death. Death reveals unlived life, the weight of waiting. You are the awareness. Not the content, the screen, not the movie. Every moment is practice. Small deaths prepare for the big one. The ultimate paradox, never born, cannot die. The final question, who are you right now? The Master. Practice. Combine everything into one daily practice. Morning, mirror practice. Who is looking? Midday, small deaths. Who is experiencing this? Evening, life review. What did I avoid today? Night, sleep practice. Who is dissolving? The question that remains, who are you? Not who will you be after death. Who are you now? The answer is closer than your next breath, closer than your next thought, closer than the one asking the question. It's what's here right now. Looking through your eyes. Reading these words. Being aware of being aware. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's who you are. Maybe that's what doesn't die, or maybe not. Maybe it's just awareness pretending to be someone who has answers. Maybe the question itself is the only honest response to the mystery of existing. Maybe not knowing is the most accurate knowledge, not because it's special, because it's what's always here, always now, always this inexplicable fact of being conscious, without explanation, without justification, without even needing to be understood. Final silence. Complete stillness. The space where everything ends and everything begins, and maybe neither. Welcome home, or welcome to homelessness, or welcome to the recognition that home and homelessness might be the same mystery. What now? The investigation doesn't end here. It might not even begin here. Maybe there's nothing to investigate. Maybe there's everything to investigate. Maybe the investigation is what's investigating itself. Every day, every moment, every breath might be an opportunity to remember what you discovered, or to forget it completely. You might not be the one who dies. You might not be the one who watches dying happen. You might not be anyone at all. Continue the investigation, or don't, not in books or videos, but in the living laboratory of your own awareness, or in the recognition that there might be no one there to have awareness, right here, right now, in this inexplicable moment of something happening. If this investigation changed something in you, if this touched something in you, if it made you stop, breathe, remember, then don't keep it to yourself. Share this with someone who's carrying what you once carried. They're closer to the edge than they let on. They're asking the same questions at 3 a.m. that you used to ask. Death is the one mystery we all face, but most people will meet it unconsciously, terrified, unprepared. This investigation could change how they approach both dying and living. This isn't a channel, it's a ritual. Each episode is a mirror. If you're ready to keep looking, subscribe. We're just getting started with investigations that most people are too afraid to undertake. The questions that matter most, the truths that hurt before they heal. Comment below, not to impress, not to debate, but to confess. What hit you hardest? Where did it hurt the most? What still echoes in your chest? Your honesty helps others recognize they're not alone in these dark territories of questioning. Next investigation. Why you can't find yourself, and why that's the point. The illusion of the searcher. What remains when seeking stops? The pathless. Path to what you already are, for those brave enough to lose everything they think they know about themselves.